Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here, Smart Business Moves. We've got a really special guest today, CeCe Mikell. Hello, CeCe.
How are you? Great to see y'all.
And Liz sounds like she's like in an airplane or a bad motorboat, maybe.
Okay, apparently you guys can hear the windows being down. I didn't know that. I don't hear them at all because I have my headset on. Yeah, we're rolling the windows up. See, we didn't know that, Tom. Let's see. Is that better?
It's making a puttering noise. It sounds like a bad toy motorboat.
Well, in a minute, you're going to hear my granddaughter complaining that she wants the windows down. So, yeah, she wants her window down now.
We're hearing.
Sorry, y'all. Window's going down. Yeah, she's demanding. She gets that from this side of the family.
Did you get the permanent? Did you get the indelible?
So anyway, CeCe.
Helicopter, yes. Sounds like a helicopter.
I got no idea. Helicopter. All right. Well, we're almost home. We're close enough that I could run, and it might make things better. But I'm just going to stay in the car. Sorry, you have to deal with helicopter sound.
What is there? Is there a cow in the road? What's happening?
There was. Okay. Oh, gosh, she's just giving me grief. All right, I'm here. I'm running. As soon as I grab my stuff.
Okay. Before we get started, let's just share what we're going to be doing the balance of the week. CeCe is going to be sharing with us best practices in leadership fundamentals, and there's a whole lot to that. We'll be talking about that shortly. Wednesday is Deal Day, and we've done a couple of these. And what we do is we have vendors who sell products and services to the residential cleaning industry, and they each get 4 minutes to explain what they do, why it means something to us as cleaning business owners, and they have a deal that's exclusive to Smart Business Moves. But that deal is only good for 48 hours. So you watch tomorrow, they'll explain what they do, they'll offer you a deal, and then you got 48 hours to take advantage of the opportunity. We've got some pretty cool vendors are going to be talking to us tomorrow, and it's supposed to be a surprise, so I'm not allowed to tell you any more than that. But we'll be here tomorrow at 5 doing that. And Thursday, we're going to be doing on the spot our rapid fire Q&A session where Liz, myself, and our secret guest all get 1 minute each to answer your most pressing questions.
That's always been fun.
And yay. Hey, Liz.
Hi, Tom. Long time no see. Where you been?
No kidding. Glad to have you today. Thanks for joining us. Do you have a clue in terms of who our on the spot secret guest will be on Thursday?
It's a short little clue. Oh,
is that the clue?
I'll add to it. It's a short little clue, and you're really gonna like him.
Thank you, Liz. That's awesome. Okay, I guess we need to go ahead and share what the other clues are.
Go ahead, Tom. Share away. I'm fighting my cat right now.
He is known for his epic comic book collection.
And you might say actually DC Comics specifically.
Yes. Better yet, yes. So you guys can go ahead and just kind of put yourself out there and take a wild guess if you want.
Hey, Tom, did you have a chance? Hey, guys, I'm glad to see everybody here. Poor Tom. He's like, this has been tough. CeCe, did Tom tell you about the comment section on the right-hand side of your screen, right where it says private chat?
Good job, Liz.
But She's been on Ring Central before, or on StreamYard.
I actually haven't.
What? What? How is she so huge?
CeCe, have you seen Molly?
I have not.
She's
That's precious.
huge.
Molly's gotten big.
What?
She's 5 months old now.
5 months. Very good.
I can't even get over how big she is now. Hey guys. Hey Debbie. Hey Marlo. Oh, all the regulars. Oh, Denise, you made it. You're not having to clean. Yay. I'm happy for you. Leslie, you too? You're on me about my helicopter sounds? Dang it.
No, she pegged it. It really did sound like a helicopter.
It sounded great to me, you guys. I was like, this is totally going to work. It's going to be fine. Yeah, Molly's huge. Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Well, CeCe, I am really happy. I mean, this is really fun, you joining us here today. This is like old times. CeCe was, I guess she is still part of our team in a different way. She's definitely helps us from time to time on projects. I don't think that we'd successfully be able to pull off a foundations event if it wasn't for CeCe's help. CeCe worked with us for a number of years. Cleaning Business Today wouldn't be Cleaning Business Today if it wasn't for CeCe. Cleaning Business Builders wouldn't be Cleaning Business Builders. Foundations, I mean, there's a long list of stuff that we all enjoy in the industry that CeCe is the person that keeps the trains running on time. And if you ever put Liz, Derek, and myself in a room together and think that we're going to get productive stuff happening, what's that?
My cat. Screaming, Tom.
Okay.
You're supposed to pretend you don't see me.
CeCe, well, I can. You tell me when you're ready to come back, Liz.
I'm good.
CeCe has an academic pedigree that I'd kind of go over, but we only have an hour, so we won't be able to go into all those details. But professional experience, management roles and positions in a number of organizations, and I'm excited on a lot of levels. It's fun getting together with friends, and at the same time, we recognize, Liz and I have had discussions about how there's so much more to be learned to help us build successful cleaning businesses by watching and hearing and learning from people from other industries. We know what we know and we do what we do every day, but different industries have a different perspective. And if we spent more time learning from other industries, I think that we could help ourselves in a faster way. So with that being said, CeCe, thank you. And where would you like to start?
Thank you for asking me to come on. This is incredible. I always love getting together with you guys. And it's been a while. Partly I moved. I left town.
Yeah.
So, that kind of broke it. It's been a while since I've been to the West Coast. It's been a year since I was last on the West Coast, but 2 years, Liz, since I was there and saw you.
Okay.
Our day in Seattle.
It feels like a long time to me since you were here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. Gosh, where to start? I love to say, so when Liz reached out to me and asked if I would consider joining you guys, there was a phrase in what she asked that jumped out at me that I've kind of glommed onto. Together some thoughts and notes, depending on how our conversation goes. And it was how leadership manifests itself.
Oh, yeah.
I've spent some time over the past several days really thinking about that. And it's been interesting. It's been enlightening.
Oh, nice.
And to be honest, it's exactly, it's kind of the first place to start. It's what a leader should always be doing, reflecting on themselves, because if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anybody else. So it always starts with yourself. So I stopped to think, when did I first think of myself as a leader? That's where I started with this.
Yeah.
And I'm probably going to surprise some people, 2 years ago.
Oh, no. I was going to ask you what grade you were in.
I know. Wow.
2
Really?
years ago was the
Wow.
first time I thought of myself as leader. It's not that other people hadn't called me one. It's the first
Right.
time I felt like I was a leader, that I
Yeah.
believed I had done something worthy of that title. And when it happened, it was about a year after I joined a team with Keller Williams as a director of operations. And it actually doesn't have anything to do with the team I was hired and paid to build. It was because I was asked by my brokerage at the time to put together a mastermind for the other support professionals, for the non-licensed operations professionals, finance professionals, marketing professionals that support the sales agents.
Okay.
And it was almost a year. It was about 9 months into the first year of that mastermind, and some of the veteran support professionals came to me and they said, "We're really impressed with you." These are people who have been doing this for 10, 15 years. They come to me and say, "We're really impressed with you. We've tried this 4 or 5 times over the last decade and can't make it stick longer than 3 months.
Oh,
And you've not only made it last 9 months, you've got a plan for the rest of the year. And you've already told us you have a plan for next year to make it even bigger and better." And that was the first time I felt like a leader.
nice.
Or I felt like I belonged under that word somehow.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where, strangely, where my intentional leadership growth started. It's just 2 years ago. Everything else I've done has been organic and accidental. Not that that's bad, but it's been organic and accidental. So I kind of wanted to start there with that perspective. Because while I recognize people see me that way, it's hard because and it's new to me.
Yeah.
The journey is new to me. So when I realized that was kind of my first journey into this, how leadership manifests itself. I asked myself, why? Why did it take me that long? I've been a professional in a number of different industries, and I'll come back to that if that becomes useful, for over 20 years. So why did it take me that long? And there are a lot of answers to this question, but I want to tell a little story because I think it's gonna hit something for a lot of people who do identify as leaders, who want to identify as leaders. 13 years ago, I moved back to Charleston from New York. It was right at the end of my academic career, and I was just beginning to make my shift into the business world. And I moved back. I got a job pretty quickly because I didn't have traditional business credentials. I had academic ones, and I knew there was a little bit of a rift between academia and business. I said, let me get an MBA. We're just going to clear this up. I'm going to make it look all pretty. So let me just get an MBA. I've done this school thing. We're going to be good. And the school was fun, and it was good. But what I remember, that the number one memory of my entire MBA experience happened before I even got my acceptance letter. My dad went to a men's club every Wednesday night, and one of the application reviewers, the original dean of the business school that I had applied to, and they were friends. And the former dean had recognized my name on the application and made the connection, knew he was going to see my dad that evening. And he brought it up with my dad that he had reviewed my application and it was strong, and it was likely they were going to admit me to the program. And then he said, but she's going to have trouble with the math.
Okay.
She's going to have trouble with the math. At the time, I was like, whatever. I didn't care. And there's been a lot of things that have happened in the last 13 years that changed that. Because when I go back and think, I already had, here's where the schooling comes up. So if you guys don't know this stuff, it's a little weird. I had a master's already that was in language science, linguistics, which had already required statistics, traditional statistics as a class. I made an A in a graduate level statistics class. I already had a PhD, which also required a statistics class, traditional statistics. And I made an A, and I'd gone through geometry and trigonometry and calculus. I didn't always make A's, not that early. Math wasn't really a problem. So I didn't think a lot about it at the time. What it did for me 13 years ago was gave me something to prove. It gave me a goal to prove, and got into the program. It wasn't all about statistics. There were other math classes too. Again, still not a problem. Those were actually the fun classes. But it set in my head a limiting belief about what leadership was, because this is an MBA program that prides itself on a strong leadership focus, a leadership course, a mentorship program where they match you up with Fortune 500 mentors and things like that. And it set in my head a limiting belief. Oh, I'm going to have trouble with the math, so I'm probably not going to be as good at this, or I'll get what I can out of it, and whatever.
Move forward from there.
So that became 13 years ago. That became my entry into the idea of business leadership. Okay. That you had to be good at math. And something about, think about it this way. I kind of get where it might have come from. We make some assumptions. I had 2 degrees in music. That doesn't sound very businessy. I had 1 degree in English language and literature. Doesn't sound very businessy. My MA is in linguistics, in language. And a lot of people just think that means I speak a lot of language. It's not quite the same thing. Doesn't sound very businessy. A PhD in composition and rhetoric, reading and writing, doesn't sound very businessy.
Okay.
So I get it. There are some assumptions that played into that. But then I had to stop and think. I spent the bulk of my academic career, my PhD forward, teaching business and technical communication and building business programs for entrepreneurs at universities. So there was a disconnect there.
Yeah.
So I had started with this limiting belief. So the first thing I had to do was figure out what it was I wanted to do. Make this transition from academic life. And I was good at that. I was good at teaching. I was good at researching. I was good at writing papers. I was good at presenting kind of cool ideas. Some of my favorite publications were around Harry Potter. That was one of my favorite things to write about. I did a lot of examinations of themes in Harry Potter. What's that?
That's not surprising me.
I spent which birthday was it? Was it my 30th birthday in Salem, Massachusetts at a Harry Potter conference over Halloween? Come on. How much? That's what
Did everybody dress up?
I didn't. I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I did. I bought some things there to dress up in, and that was kind of fun. But yeah, going through the witch houses and the graveyards and like all the spooky stuff from Salem really pulls out all the stops.
I bet they do. Yeah.
And then you put a Harry Potter, a Wizarding conference right on top of that.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of the fun stuff that I did. And so that's kind of where I came from entering into business and leadership. So this is what I'm thinking about over the weekend. 2 years ago was when I first started thinking of myself, believing that I deserved to use the word leader. And 13 years ago, a really critical moment in the formation of my idea about what leadership meant. So that's where I started. I'm gonna take a pause and say, what questions does this raise? Where do you want me to take it from here?
So as you're talking, I'm wondering to myself, like, so you had this self-limiting belief about what leadership was, and you're like, okay, that's not me. I'm really good in this other role, and I actually really excel in this other role. But maybe I'm just not going to be exactly what other people are thinking. Good enough. Don't care. I'm going to be good enough, and I'm going to do what I can. But then you started going on, because for 13 years, or I guess 11 years, you started living your life and doing your stuff. And people were still calling you a leader during those times. They were thinking of you as a leader, and they were sort of, I know at least for 6 of those years, people were kind of leaning on you to lead certain things. So what happened between, you know, this self-limiting belief and then finally being like, okay, I get it. Title, leader, that fits CeCe Mikell now. So how, like, was it slow and gradual? Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like just one day, bam. Oh, almost like a light bulb moment for you, where you saw yourself as a leader, but doesn't sound like you were really doing anything differently than you'd been doing before.
I love that. Tom?
No, it's like when two different people watch an automobile accident and they give 2 completely different accounts of what you're describing doesn't fit all what I have seen. And I knew you in your previous career before you ever worked with Liz and myself. And it's that thing where you throw a group of people together to work on something, and there's just some natural selection thing that goes on where somebody kind of takes charge and leads the effort. And that was you. That is you. And
yeah,
I'm surprised why you see it differently than, and it had nothing to do with, you know, position or title or anything else. You've always basically this is I'm gonna tell a story, and I'm gonna let you swing back around and ask Liz's question. I'm a good acquaintance with CeCe's prior manager before ever working with us, and I remember having a discussion with him about CeCe and, you know, how, you know, what's it like working with CeCe and so forth. And his advice to me is, you know, Tom, I know you fairly well, and I think it's going to be a good relationship. The only thing I need to caution you is you have to have a very high self-esteem to have a good working relationship with CeCe. And I mean that in a complimentary way, because we're all working to accomplish the same thing. And if we're able to park our ego and say, let the person who's capable of running with the ball, and I'll follow, you know, just pointing in the right direction. That was kind of the way it worked. So not 100%, but, you know, a surprising, you know, a good amount of the time it did. And just would have never in a million years, if you'd have made this a multiple choice test, I'd be doing very poorly at the moment.
Well, and that's kind of why I wanted to start with 13 years ago when I moved into business, kind of give you that picture of what was in my head about who I was, what I was, and what was possible. Now, I will say that I feel very fortunate that a key leadership lesson that I now hear repeated a lot is, when you know it's the right thing, say yes and figure out how later. Say yes and figure out how later.
Yeah.
And as I look back to 13 years ago and first accepting Mark's offer, that's who Tom's referring to, my boss before Tom, and you know, to work for, it was for a retirement community. I came from teaching college and graduate courses and tenure and publishing and things like that, to creating the first Office of Communications for a retirement community. It's the kind of the flagship retirement community for a group of communities in the state. And They said, we don't have one of these. We feel a need for one of these. This Office of Communications, we don't know what it's supposed to look like, but we feel like you have some experience and knowledge to bring to this, and come do it. So for 3 years, Mark Lee was fantastic, as long as it was reasonably within the parameters of what the statewide organization allowed and supported and had as part of the mission. He said, go, do it. And kind of what Tom said a minute ago, if you pointed me in the right direction, he said, this is what we need, and let me go, then I was gonna make it happen, especially because it was fun. Give me a challenge, give me something, give me a goal to meet, an objective to meet, and then let me figure out how to do it. That's fun to me, figuring out that puzzle. Even better if somehow I can exceed those goals. And with the retirement community, the biggest piece of that office was a fundraiser. They wanted an annual major fundraiser that was going to be kind of their big cash cow for whatever their big need was that year. The first one we did was to buy a brand new bus for the activity, so that it could get more people to more activities off campus. And it was one of the first really really big moments when I could say I didn't simply achieve the financial goal of that fundraiser, I beat it by more than 50%.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And I'd never run a fundraiser like that before. I'd never worked with the board of trustees. I'd never worked with volunteers. I'd never coordinated it. I'd never gone after sponsors. All of these things I'd never done. And I just needed somebody to tell me this. So go do this. Go do this. What do you think about this idea? So that became the thing that began to define kind of how I operated in a business world that was so dramatically different than in an academic world, because it doesn't exist there. You have a need. It's the right thing to do. I say yes, and we'll figure out how later. So that became my first kind of thing I was known for. If you needed something done and nobody had ever done it, nobody knew how to do it, nobody had a plan, go ask CeCe.
She'll come up with something.
That just became the thing.
Yeah.
So that was my entry. That was the first thing that I did and then repeated intentionally. So Liz, when you say something happened in that 11 years,
Right.
that was it.
Okay.
That was the first thing. I've since learned to identify that as opportunity. Somebody brings you an opportunity. When somebody's, we hear that. Keep yourself open to opportunity. When a door closes, a window opens. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the opportunity. Somebody has a need. You have a desire, whether it's just because you can solve something or because you have a specific passion for that thing, go do it. So that was the first thing. And that was a pretty big thing. That we continued to do that fundraiser, different variations of it, for my entire time there. So that was the first thing. About the time I finished my MBA was about the time I started thinking and dreaming about what more I wanted to do. Retirement care, while a noble profession, and that was where my grandmother lived. So you'll never hear me say that it wasn't a great place. It was an awesome place.
Yeah.
I loved it. Continued visiting, having brunch there with my grandmother until she passed away. And I'm still in touch with many of the folks that I worked with there. But I was looking for something more. I didn't know what more. I couldn't define it. I hadn't decided, hadn't dreamed. So this kind of became my second thing. It's a little bit of an extension of give me an opportunity and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I only ever answer Craigslist job ads that do not name the title, that do not name the company, that do not name a salary. I only answer the ones that sound like fun.
Okay.
And that's what Tom and Derek posted. We have these things that we want to do. Are you the person to come help us do it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he posted.
Okay.
Same thing happened when what got me to Keller Williams. It was an agent who was looking for a director of operations to build his team. He didn't put any of that. Real estate was not in there. Director of operations was not in there. Salary was not in there. None of that. He said implementer. That was the key word that got me. Yeah. All right, somebody needs me to come fix something for them. Let's go do it. That sounds like fun. So that, like I said, that kind of became my, you have a need, I have a desire, let's put these together and make this happen.
And I know your manager that hired you at Keller Williams, and he called me, and he used to do our Valpak advertising. He's an eclectic, a Renaissance man. He owned a business that picked up doggy waste. And the first time I met him, Janice bought me a birthday gift and hired this company to pick up dog poo in my backyard. And it's like, I know that guy. He's my Valpak guy. And I walk out in the back. It's like, hey, Tom, how are you doing? He reached out to shake my hand, and I just kind of stand back. And that was before COVID. That was a long time ago. But he called me, and we talked about what's it like working with CeCe, and I gave him the same advice that Mark gave me, and I guess it worked.
I have a feeling that advice might be following me. So I'm looking at the comments, and Liz Day says, I think leadership is from experience and not born into. Liz, I think that's an incredible statement. So thank you for sharing that. A lot of folks will actually put numbers that success, not leadership specifically, but success is 90% effort, 10% talent. That born with bit. You can get so far in what you choose to accomplish with practice, with intention, with strategy, with goals that you consistently work to achieve. So absolutely, experience definitely plays into that, and I love that you've brought that up. And that's kind of why I'm telling this. I'm trying to tell this kind of as a story, because the story of my experience is what leads me to choose my intentional path now. Everybody comes to their path a little bit organically through experiences that they didn't plan, and none of this was planned. When I'm talking about most of what I'm talking about at this point is things that happened when I was still trying to figure out what a transition from a first career in academia to a second career in business looked like. Did I really want to stay in business, or did I want to try to go back to academia and teaching? That actually came up. That was a big part of what I learned about myself working for Tom, because he gave me more than one opportunity to engage my teaching and coaching. That was where I kind of solidified that passion for myself. I expressed, so The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. It's a great book. Nina was talking about this same philosophy yesterday, your big why. What is it that drives every choice you make in life? Not just your business and your financial choices, but everything. And mine is, I express it this way, my passion is feeding people.
Yeah. You've said that for years.
Feeding people. And sometimes legitimately that comes in food. I really do love to cook. And I spend a good portion of my time, one of my biggest volunteer outlets is with groups like Meals on Wheels and soup kitchens, where I literally feed people. But it comes from my desire, when I feel like I have achieved something good in the world, is when I have helped someone make a realization, figure out their why, figure out a plan, make a plan to achieve their why. That's when I feel accomplished, when I see that light bulb go off for other people. So when Tom was hiring for someone into the position that I got, it included building a class for the house cleaning technician program. That was the very first entry there. He and the group had built the science, they had written the book, they had written the course. They needed a way to deliver it. So that was the first one. And that put me in a different position in teaching in that arena, because I wasn't actually delivering the material. I wasn't the one making the light bulbs go off directly. I was in a support role. I was in a back of house role. I was building the platform. I was scripting and supporting. Janice was putting together videos, the video content, and then we had the testing content and putting all that together into a system. So it put me in a different place to do that, and that was, like I said, that's when it kind of really clicked. It wasn't that I had to be in the classroom. I had to be part of the system, part of the entire program that is helping people build what they dream of. That morphed into Cleaning Business Builders. Actually, it morphed into Institute for Service Excellence first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first outlet through which we created the Foundations program, then morphed into Cleaning Business Builders, growing, advancing, refining Foundations, making the video version, putting together the week-long program, various versions there, and engaging with folks in that way. And then, and I don't know if Tom remembers this, when we started Cleaning Business Today, the trade journal, I actually wasn't officially part of it. I mean, I know it was, especially I didn't have a title. I didn't have an official role. I think in the beginning, I was just the copy editor. I read everything and, made some edits. And it kind of grew into, what are the topics that are coming out of Foundations that we need to write articles on? So that was kind of one of the first places, was contributing those topic ideas. And then it was like, well, CeCe, you know the answers. Why don't you write the articles too? Or you know the person who's got the great answers, or you know the person who's got the great story. Those were the fun ones, the people with the great stories around things. And then one day Tom said, do you want to be editor-in-chief? I was like, do you have any idea that's the first title I ever wanted in my entire life?
Yeah.
So I have to give that to Tom. So these are the things, these are the moments, and it's taken, some of it is, and Tom can attest to this, some of it is Tom opened space for me to create things that he wanted. And then there were other times where I pushed Tom out of the way and said, this is how I want to do it. This is what's going to work. And we battled. It wasn't always sunshine and roses.
Sure.
So that was part of the learning as well. So Tom was actually he was really the first, he and Liz and Derek, you guys were the first group of leaders who let me battle you in a safe place. And that was a critical, organic turning point for me in breaking through that limiting belief. Remember that one that I started this with, that I was going to have trouble with the math. Something wasn't good enough in me.
Mm-hmm.
To have these arguments, to bring this up, to be assertive, to say, no, that's not a good idea. Liz, we're not going to do it that way.
So, I'm hearing, as you're talking, CeCe, I'm hearing, I'm like trying to pick out different ideas, like sort of a thread. I'm looking for the thread that's weaving through everything. And I think what I'm hearing is confidence. I'm hearing that you're coming from a place of lacking in confidence, and sort of you have confidence in one area, but not confidence in this area of leadership. And so as you're building your confidence, it's kind of a rocky road. You're building it and losing it and not getting it and going on and like having to push back and then not really being clear, while other people might be seeing this nice straight line of CeCe as a leader and growing her leadership abilities. To you, it's more along like this. And then when it finally got to a point where you're like, here, and then, oh, wow, okay, now I get it, is when you were able to see for yourself, I am the one that did this. So, and it wasn't just that moment. It seemed like at that moment, but it was when you were able to make the link between all the things.
Yeah.
Oh, I have been doing this all along. I have been the one that has been pushing it forward, grasping the opportunity, looking for what was fun, seizing my passion, and making those fundamental leadership steps that got you to the place of feeling confident. Like,
I'm thinking about, we've got, maybe a little less than, 15, 20 minutes left here. And the people that are in our audience today, there's two sides of this equation. I mean, we're running cleaning businesses, and I guess by definition, whether you like it or not, if you're running a business that puts you in a position where you have to be a leader, or you need to be a leader, the people that work for you need you to be a leader. At the same time, in order to build a business and be successful, you need to be working with other people in your organization that they themselves are leaders. And I'm hearing a lot of things here that could help on both sides of the equation. There's a time when you have to be a leader, and then there's a time that you have to be able to see the opportunity to let somebody in your organization be the leader. And speaking about, working with CeCe, a huge part of that was trust. I mean, there were times that we didn't see the issue the same way. We might not have agreed on, the tactics or, all the, what to put in the recipe, but our overarching objective, we trusted each other. We knew that we were both trying to get to the same place. And that's a huge part of it. And if you can establish that, then it really doesn't matter who's leading at that point, as long as somebody's taking the lead and it's moving us both moving everybody in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that is the leading, though. That is the leading, is that it's not about somebody with a whip or somebody pushing or driving. That it really is about, sometimes you're in front, sometimes I'm in front, but we're always going in the same direction. We're deciding where we're going, and we're all on the same page. And not that we're always going in the same direction, because especially in this example, right? There were many different directions for you particularly, but then also while you worked for us. I mean, how many times did we change direction, right? We're like, well, we're doing this. No, next time we're doing this. Oh, wow. Ooh, now we're doing this.
This drives me crazy.
I know. But we're all on the same page.
Yes. And that really is exactly it. It's anytime you're asked to talk about leadership or think about leadership, one of the first things, what is a leader? What does leadership mean? What is leading? Give me a definition. And I wrote down 5 of my favorites. Some are simpler than others, but the one it comes down to every single time for me, this is the headliner for me. We are our best selves when we empower others to be their best.
Yeah.
So when we talk about being a leader, just because I have the title doesn't make me the best person to do X.
Yeah.
Do X, whatever it is. And I will say that it's something I'm currently struggling through, because for the first time, I have an entire staff of my own. But I'm responsible for giving away entire responsibility collections, not just a task list.
Yeah.
They're not assistants. They don't do my mail. They don't check my email. They don't get my lunch. This is not what they do. They are running they're creating. I'm not even, can y'all believe that? I'm not the one creating the program.
Are you doing okay, CeCe?
I know. Actually, yes. Yes. The
I
first.
could see that being empowering, though.
listen, I've been the one holding the reins for so long. It really was tough.
Yeah.
And I admit there are some places where I do still hold on a lot tighter than maybe I should. But I have some really good, I have coaches. My CEO is one of my coaches. I have a dedicated coach that I meet with once a week. And these are the people who help me work through what is it that's causing me to hold on to that piece or that program. Sometimes one of them, it's an obvious one. I've literally done it before in a different position. I've done this program, created it from scratch, done this. That I have to remember, I'm not the only one in the world who can.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, I'm probably not the one who should. And that's the more important part.
That's the tricky part.
I have a different set of responsibilities now. And that includes empowering someone who is better equipped than I am, either with time or skill or attention or network, empowering somebody else to do that thing.
You know, I love that you're bringing that one.
Yeah.
I love that you're bringing that one up as really key, that always pops to the top for you, because I think, especially in our industry, it's one of the ones that we struggle with, because so many people start in this industry like you did, doing all the stuff.
Yeah.
And so you've been doing all the stuff and you're building your vision and your idea for how to do everything the right way, the perfect way. And then to try and pass that on is so difficult to, and to be able to lead people to go where you want to go when they're not doing it maybe your exact way.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I will say that's when I was thinking about, you know, that I wanted to share that piece. A big part of that is I remember spending a lot of time talking about with the cleaning business owners about how to make the transition out of the field.
Yeah, very popular.
The difference between working in your business and working on your business. And I've gained, but because I've been differently separated from that in real estate, because I never was a real estate agent. I was never in the field.
Right.
I've always been behind the real estate agent in the support services. I'm the one who ended up guiding the real estate agent that I worked for into leaving the field, letting go of that to another agent, so that the lead agent could become the team leader, could become the coach. So I feel like I have this this set of tools, this set of more concreteness about what that looks like. You know, working on your business instead of in it, and working on it when you're in a service industry. Sure, cleaning, that's the end result of the service, but the people, the humans, are the ones who deliver the service. So your constituent as the business owner in that industry, in any service industry, are the humans who are delivering the service. So working on the business means working on those people.
Yeah.
And that means learning to be a coach, because you have your big why. You know why you want to make X number of dollars this year, your revenue, your profit, and what you're going to do with it. At least we hope we do. That's the goal. as just a person, you don't even have to be a leader to have that goal.
Yeah.
But as a leader, your job is to help the folks who work for you, who support, who deliver the services that you're promising, help them figure out what their goals are. Because what do you gain when you know what their goals are? You gain leverage and motivation to help them figure out why they're doing what they're doing. When they come to you and say, I need more money, why do they need more money? What can we do? Do they need more hours? Do they need do they need help raising their skill level to become a leader in your organization where that achieves a higher rate? Are they looking at, one of the things Derek does that I always loved, he would help fund home purchases for his staff. He offered that service. He became their bank. because he believed in them so much. He created that space for them. These are the things that leaders of companies do that make their companies successful. These are the things that make their staff want to follow them, because the staff feel like they're seen as humans. They're not just a paycheck. This really hit home with me yesterday. Actually, every Monday at 4:00, the other CFOs in our region, North and South Carolina, get on a call together, and we just started a new mastermind series. And we had a CFO from another market center who has really done some amazing things. She's now an owner. She's built over the last 10 years passive income and personal wealth that gained her the ability to buy into the market center. She's now a part owner. And one of the biggest things that she said, there were two big takeaways that I had from it. The one I wanted to share with you guys is that, what are you taking from the lessons of your business? And this is directed at us, because I teach agents how to do this. What am I taking from the lessons that I teach, and using for my own benefit? And when I thought about it, I said, oh my gosh, what are our business owners across industries, what are they creating for their staff beyond a paycheck? And that's where, when I say we are our best selves when we empower others to be their best, that's what I'm looking for in a leader of any kind of company. What are you doing for your staff beyond just a paycheck?
So one of the things I always look at for a leader too is beyond the paycheck is, does the person themselves, if you've done an exemplary job of leading, they should have no feeling of being led. They should have a feeling of becoming, that they did it themselves, that they are now a better person, and that it's not owed to anyone else, that they did it of themselves. So when I see really, truly great leaders, the people under them feel like they have grown and really gotten better because of their own hard work and because of their determination and what they've done. And many, many times you can see the leader's influence, and while it was happening, but the person that's being led really shouldn't have that feeling. It shouldn't feel that way to them. It should feel like a feeling of becoming. I really like that in the leaders that I've seen. Most of them seem like they are very humble. But the reason why they seem humble and feel humble and appear humble is because that's how they see themselves. They don't see themselves as like growing you into this great person, pushing you, making you. They're not doing it. They're just shining a light on what's already great about you, just helping you to see what is great in you and letting you be more of that. So those are the great things that I really appreciate when I see great leaders. Absolutely.
And, they're cry-worthy moments when it happens. I remember, I know the exact person that I was talking to. He was trying to hire me, but I talked him out of hiring me. Because what we got to was, I ended up, he was interviewing me to hire me. And what ended up happening was I was interviewing him. I was looking for my next leader. Yeah. That's what I was looking for. So I was asking him a lot of questions about his big why, and he hadn't figured it out. And I ended up asking, all I did was ask questions.
Yeah.
And then he would tell me something, and that would prompt another question. It was completely unscripted. There was nothing. I just talked myself out of a job. That wasn't about me. And that actually is my number 3 in my definition list of leaders, is ask questions.
Well, give us
ask questions, because you have the answers.
We're right at the top of the hour, CeCe. Why don't you walk us through the others real quick?
Yeah, give us all 5, CeCe.
All 5. A person who finds ways to help others identify and achieve their big why.
Nice.
Ask questions. Find experts and talent to realize a vision. Has influence over the attention and respect of others by their integrity and example and achievement. We use our business conversations to coach the whole person. And we are our best selves when we empower others to be their best.
God, those
are my 5 or 6.
6.
5 or 6.
Yeah,
They're 6.
Yeah, those are really good, CeCe. Yeah. Well, everybody, I hope that you could get something out of this conversation. You know, being a leader is not a lot of times what we think it is. It's not just
different than what
than most people, right? It's not just a title that you put your name and you put next to it leader and bam, you are. And so there's a lot to it that's more than that. So hopefully you're able to see that. And I really like that you pointed out, CeCe, that, you know, many, many years where other people thought of you as a leader, but you didn't see yourself that way.
Yeah, it took me a lot longer to come to that than others. Yeah.
But there's so much more to it than just the title or even what people think or what people know and whether you come to it on your own. Ooh, there's the book right there.
Yes. Because I've got it open right beside me. It's always right beside me.
So I'm going to add and drop this in chat.
Get the book. If you go to the website, theonething.com, there's a lot of free resources. There's a workbook to help you actually work through figuring out what your one thing is, beginning that process. It's fantastic. A lot of free resources.
Oh, nice. So
there's a retreat. There's a singles retreat and a couples retreat. So if you're married or you have a business partner and want to do this together, that's great too.
Oh, nice.
While we're wrapping up, just real quick, if you haven't subscribed to Cleaning Business Today, it's really easy. You go to Cleaning Business Today, drop in your email, first name, last name, bang, you're done. You get our newsletter, updates with breaking news, good stuff there. Resource page, drop this into chat. CeCe, can I ask you for a favor? In your 6 leadership suggestions, if you could share those with us in a document, I would like to post that on our resource page.
You got it. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. CeCe, thank you very, very much.
Oh, this has been so much fun.
Yeah. These daily Facebook Lives, they're different every single day. And we never really know what we're going to get. Right, Tom? I mean,
it's like a box of chocolates, right?
Yeah, totally. We never really know. So it's fun to invite lots of different people and lots of different perspectives. I'm so glad you were able to come on. I was like, I know how busy she is. I'm like, I hesitant to even bug her. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad you were able to.
Okay. If I can contribute again, please call.
I will do.
We will take you up on that for sure. For sure. So you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll be back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. We're going to be doing deal day on Smart Business Moves. So come on in and hear some deals on good products and services for your house cleaning business that you're not going to find anywhere else that are good for 48 hours. So until tomorrow at 5, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.